bring back old Mr. Hinkleshad from the dead. Now we're starting to look like something. You bet. Got him. Yes. Seems as though it might be raining out here. There we go. There we go. Oh no! What is up, MFers? So excited for the video today. Now, when I moved down to Texas, let me tell you something. I knew there was giant bass down here, and I knew one of the ways I was gonna target them was one of my favorite ways, and that is with a giant swim bait. What I didn't realize, and what people didn't tell me, was this area, within like a couple hours of where I'm living down here in Houston, I think it's like the big bait mecca of the universe. There isn't a ton of footage out there catching big bass on big baits, but from what I've seen and from what I've watched on old Pamela Optics, there's some freaking giant bass down here, and they really like the big swim bait. One problem with that is my favorite swim bait of all time so far is the Hinkleshad. This is a very difficult bait to get, and I had a couple. I lost one and I'm down to one. And look what this old girl looks like. I mean, I had it custom wrapped in a crappie pattern, and for good reason. It's been destroyed by a bunch of bass. So I've been throwing this bait, and from what I've seen on Pamela Optics, the fish are just laughing at it because, well, it looks like this. But today, we're gonna change that. We're gonna bring back old Mr. Hinkleshad from the dead. You might be wondering why I don't just buy a new one. Well, you can't get them anywhere. Andrew Hinkle barely sells these things anymore. And yeah, I think it would be more fun to just do it myself. So what we're gonna do in today's video is I'm going to run to Hobby Lobby. We're gonna get some paint, and I'm actually gonna get a new airbrush as well because mine was all clogged, it needed cleaned. It didn't do very well, and I don't even know if it made it in the move. I don't really feel like looking for it anyways because it was going to shit. So we're gonna get a new airbrush, we're gonna get the paints. I'm gonna show you guys the paint we're gonna need to paint this guy right here. We're gonna strip off what's left of that old wrap on there, and we're gonna bring this guy back from the dead. And then we're gonna take it out to the lake and see if the fish agree that our paint job is good enough and up to par for these giant Texas bass out here. But first things first, let's go to Hobby Lobby, get some supplies. Okay, we are back from the Hobby Lobby. I always have a hard time filming in stores. It's just not something that I like to do, and I feel awkward carrying a camera around. I feel awkward even with Coleslaw carrying a camera around. I feel bad for him just in general, but I feel really bad for him. It's an awkward situation. Anyways, here is the airbrush we ended up with. This was actually my first ever airbrush. I've painted hundreds of lures with this, the Iwata Neo. I made sure to get the gravity feed, which works a lot better for what I like to do. That way it's not pulling up from a bottle. You can just dump little bits of paint in there. You don't need very much paint for airbrush and lures, so that's gonna work really well. And then I got 4 different types of paint just to kind of give you guys examples of really all you'll need. Now we are going to use more than 4 different colors of paint once we start doing some of the detailing and stuff on this bait, but if you guys want to get started in airbrushing, I would strongly recommend starting with 4 that are similar to these. I also have this tub right here, which looks like that. We have a whole bunch of different colors in there. So buying doubles didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, but these are good ones to get if you're getting started. Opaque white, pearlized gold, and I don't know if you should get this one, but this looks like a really cool color. It's a color shift. I think we're gonna use this if we can get the viscosity right. These are made for airbrushing, these Createx paints. This one was in the craft section, so we're actually gonna have to thin that a whole bunch. This one is called Color Shift Black Flash. It's like a goldish green, black colors. I don't know, we're gonna put it on the back, it's gonna look cool. So we're gonna try to make this look as much like a big gizzard shad as we possibly can. I just did a quick Google search here for some gizzard shad. That's actually a thread fin right there, but these big bass are eating big gizzard shad. Obviously that's the profile of a big gizzard shad, but if you're not familiar with what it looks like, there it is right there. Pretty whitish silvery bait fish. Some of the adults kind of look more like this guy right there, which is pretty boring, but a lot more gold on the top of them, and then a lot of like pearlized, iridescent purples and greens, even some blues on their backs, and then almost all of them seem to definitely, here, I'll click on this one because it'll be a little bit easier to see. That's a really good image right there. They have a lot more darker detail around their face, and they almost all have gold eyes, and yeah, you can see the green iridescence on the back of this one right here. So we're gonna try to mimic that as best we can. Now obviously before we do any painting, we need to start stripping what's left on there. And I'm gonna rip the fins off too because I have an entire new fin set right here. There she is, ready to paint. It took way longer than expected. A lot of you guys probably watched that and you're like, hey, you should have used a heat gun. That'll loosen up the adhesive. You're right, and guess what? That also did not make the move. I don't know where the hell it's at. Packed up over here somewhere, I'm sure. I think one of the allures of this bait is that it does have its imperfections and kind of looks janky, like an old beat up shad, just like the bull shad does. One of the most popular swim baits of all time. I'm sure by now there's been about 1 million comments saying that I should make an entire video about how to airbrush lures and what you need to get started. Guess what? I already did that. I'll link it down below. This is a safe brush though, 60 bucks, doesn't break the bank. We're gonna spend under $100 total on our supplies to make all this today, to paint this one bait and a bunch more. But again, way more details in that video, link down below. Okay, first things first, we need a white base coat. Now that the bait is white and looks like nothing, let's add some pearlized white. Without question, a lot of these bigger, nasty old gizzards have a lot of gold in them too, so mix some up here. I thin everything with high performance reducer. That makes it shoot way better. I would strongly suggest that if you're getting into this, because you want your consistency to be pretty thin, like so. It ain't gonna spray. We're gonna hit it on the back and face area and a lot more towards the tail. Maybe some around where the fin accents are gonna be as well. Time to do some terrifying detail work to Mr. Hinkleshad. We're gonna mix up a little bit of pearlized black across our fingers as it actually shoots. We're gonna crank the PSI down so it's not so damn messy. Now we're starting to look like something. You bet. A couple more things. Iridescence. We're gonna put some iridescent green and some iridescent violet over the back and the sides. And that's not gonna do anything for you guys to see until we clear coat it. And then probably some reddish orange down underneath and around the gills right there. But nothing crazy. We'll add eyeballs and then we'll dip it in the clear coat. And then we'll add fins tomorrow. Added some red below the gills there. Kind of tried to make it look a little uneven and janky like gills actually would be. Clear coat, we are going to use KBS Diamond. Everyone's been telling me for a long time that this is the deal. You can dip it or you can brush it. I can't really decide what I want to do with it, but I'm going to try to dip the back side, I think, and go from there. I'm going to be really careful not to get it in the joint. Obviously, to glide, it needs to be able to have the joints free of movement. Good morning, MFers. Welcome to day number 2. We let the epoxy cure overnight. All hooked up with the boat back there, and I wasn't planning on being able to use the Hinkle today. I thought maybe it'd be a little too gummy maybe, but actually feels pretty rock solid. It's not like 100% cured, and so if we do catch a fish, which I plan to, we're probably gonna get some pretty bad hook rash on this, but that'll add a little character, right? We can always repaint it and strip it down. I think I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. Get the fins on here, get the hooks on here. See you guys at the lake. Okay, out on the water, got the boat launched. We're out here with the old Hinkle shad tied on, and I actually decided to go to a lake that I've never been to today, which is always terrifying, you know, just going out, having to catch fish on one bait, which, by the way, that's one of the most difficult and detrimental things, really, that I think I do on my video is predetermining the one bait that I have to go catch fish on. that is my goal to go catch fish on, because as you guys know, fishing is different every single day. And so it's not the best to set in your mind the one bait or the one technique you're gonna use to go out and catch them. But that's what we're doing today, and the lake that we're at today is supposed to be badass. I know there's double digits in here, which is awesome. We are at 4 DDs for the year, and goal, like I tell you guys in a lot of videos, is 10 for the year. So maybe we'll get one of those today. We got a big bait tied on. Water is super, super clean. Nice grassy, deep lake. I'm loving it so far. Oh yeah, so this time of year, this is one thing I really like to see. This right here, these dimples on the bottom of the lake, generally they're in 6 to 12 or 14 feet of water. Those are bluegill beds, and you can find them on main lake points, secondary points, really anywhere that there's a little bit harder bottom. Those bluegills like to nest up, and the bass that chase them are some of the most aggressive bass anywhere that you'll find in the post spawn. So I love that. Okay, spot number 1 has both of what we were just talking about. It's a bunch of bluegill beds on a main lake point, which I really, really like, and the finished product, Mr. Custom Painted Hinkle. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Clear coat actually seems really, really solid. I threw some 1/0 decoy quattro hooks. Has 4 points instead of 3. I've become a really big fan of those for my big baits. A lot of bluegill beds in the area. That's the same shape. Obviously that looks like a shad. I've seen a bunch of shad schools scan around. So they are in here, and this could also imitate a bluegill or anything else that's shaped that way for that matter. But one thing left to do. Let's stick one. Here's some of the little bluegill guys I was telling you about. Some of those, that bigger one might actually be a bass, but those little flickers there are the bluegills on the beds. Now those are in 12 to 18 feet. We're probably not gonna get bit on this Hinkle because it's not a type of bait that gets down that much, and unless we decide to wrap some lead wire, but don't tell anyone that secret. We might be doing that a little bit later. But I'm gonna get up in probably the 5 to 12 foot range for a lot of today. This bait seems to work exceptionally well when you give it less action. You'll see me kind of pull it through the glides like this with my rod all day, and that's more or less to get it down. This is a heavy floater, it's called, so when it comes to rest or at the start of your cast, it floats really, really slow. But as you work it, you can get it down 3 to 5 feet by pulling it through those glides the first, I don't know, third of the cast. So I have to kind of pull it through the glides like this, work that bait down, and then once I know it's down 3 or 4 feet, which is just comes from experience, I'll fish it really slow and methodically and just have it look like what a glide bait is, a big, wounded, dying bait fish. It's a super easy meal for the bass. And then one retrieve I like to mix in is every 15 feet or so, I'll give it 2 twitches. So it'll be going slow through the glides, and all of a sudden, and that can get a lot of those fish that are following it to react to it. But we're gonna fish some points. We're gonna fish some drains, as the Texans call them. Some deeper shoots. There could be some bigger fish suspended in those. And then of course, if we can find some brush piles or something to fish this over the top of, that is another awesome ambush point. And if we can't find anything up shallower than 10 or 12 feet, I'm gonna weight this thing down and we'll go after some of the deep fish in 15 to 25 with it. Got him. Yes. Finally. So many followers on the freaking Hinkle. This guy is angry. I don't know how big he is. Yeah. Yeah, bud. Not a giant, but I'll take him. Kind of fishing out on a main lake point. I scanned around quite a bit and I found some bluegill beds. This guy's probably eating some of those bluegill. I keep getting followers on this thing, and I know they're bigger than this. This guy barely even showed up as a mark, but little 3-pound guy ate the old Hinkle. Okay, let's get another one. Something bigger, hopefully. Fucking wicked storm rolling in right now, and it's not making the video because my GoPro keeps f***ing up, but I'm getting bit on almost every single cast. I don't know if they're big or if they're just, you know, 3 to 5 pounders, but followers, just cracking it, not getting hooked. I do really like this wind picking up though, with this super clean water, super dark conditions. Getting a little scared for my safety, but this should be when a big one makes a mistake, that's for sure. You bet! Time to catch a big. There we go. There we go. Oh no! 7-pounder in the rain. God damn it. I don't know if you guys saw any of that, but shit. Seems as though it might be raining out here. Yeah. Well, I've been sitting on this footage for quite a while actually, because I've been a little bit embarrassed and pissed off about what happened right after that last clip there. It started raining crazy heavy, as you guys saw, the hardest rain I've probably fished in ever. And so I took the chest camera off so it didn't get destroyed, because I've been through 3 GoPros so far this year. So the wind was blowing, it picked up to like 40 miles an hour straight, and I was getting bit and followed by like a wolf pack of bass every single cast. I could see them on Panoptics, so I wasn't gonna go in. But if I caught a big fish or something, then I'd pull out the big camera and show you guys real quick in the rain. But what happened was I pushed it a little too far and decided to give the old Hinkle shad a big old send directly into the wind. Backlash, 80-pound braid, snaps at the knot, and I had been weighting my Hinkle, so it no longer was a heavy float. It did not float anymore. Sunk to the bottom of the lake. So a lot of hours went into redoing that bait. So props to all you custom bait painters and re-wrappers and everything else out there, because it is a ton of work. All for me to catch the one little bass, lose the good size 7-ish pound, I don't know, 6 to 8 pound bass, and throw it into the damn ocean. And now I can't get any more. So that's very sad. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If any of you have a Hinkle shad for sale, I would love to purchase it from you. There's none available online that I've seen anywhere, so hit me up if you have one that you can have me purchase. But one thing that does make me a little bit happier is we got something in this box, a whole bunch of something that we've been working on for the last 3 years that I haven't been able to show much on camera. And so that'll cheer me up a little bit, that's for sure. Can't quite show you guys what this is in here yet, but ran up to the 6-inch shop yesterday and finally have them. So it'll be available very soon. And no, it is not anything that you guys saw in any recent videos. But thanks so much for watching this one of Memphis. If you guys want to see more custom lure painting, custom whatever bait making style stuff, drop a comment down below. And of course, hit the thumbs up. More thumbs ups means that you guys like the video, and that means that I'll keep making those type of formats videos. Thanks for watching this one of Memphis. I'm out of here. Peace.